So as they're rowing and rowing and rowing and fighting to do what the Lord asked them to do, suddenly they see Jesus walking on the water. Now, during this time, this 9 hours, if you noticed in the passage that we read, Jesus said to the disciples to go to the other side while I send the multitudes away. He didn't say anything about going up to the mountain to pray. All he told them was that he was going to send the multitudes away. Well, how long does that take? Not 9 hours. So I'm sure if I were one of the disciples anyway, during that 9 hours of fighting, I would be asking the question, where's Jesus? Why isn't he here? Doesn't he care that we're going through this storm? Why isn't he here with us? Why is he making us go through this alone? Because he didn't say where he was going. He didn't say he was going up to the mountain to pray. And I have no doubt on that mountain, he was praying for them, that they would have faith and that they would believe. But he didn't tell them that. And you know what? God doesn't always tell us what he's doing. He doesn't always make his will clear to us. He doesn't make his plans known to us. He just gives us directions and expects us to obey them, even though we don't have the whole picture. And that takes faith. It definitely takes faith. And then sometimes when the storms get really rough, we start to doubt that faith. We start to question, okay, is God being cruel? Is God trying to teach me a lesson? Has he forgotten about me and he's just too busy with everybody else? What is going on? Where is God during this time? Where is God during my storm? And I'm sure the disciples were, the Bible doesn't say that, but they're human. And I know me as a human, when I'm going through these storms, particularly these storms that just don't seem to have an end. They just go on, and I'm tired and I'm weary of fighting. And it's getting harder and harder to keep pressing. During those times, I know I have found myself on more than one occasion questioning, Lord, where are you? Where are you? But Jesus was there. He was there with them. He knew what they were going through. And then he made himself known to them as he walked on the water toward them. And the funny thing is sometimes, let's just like the disciples, when Jesus does make his presence known, because we've been asking, where are you, Jesus? Where are you? And Jesus says, I'm right here. Then we go, it's a ghost, like the disciples did. Jesus came walking on the water toward them. They were wondering where he was. Here he is. But they don't believe it's him. And that's another, just a good insight into what we face when we go through storms, how sometimes we don't recognize what Jesus is doing and what God is doing in our lives. We don't recognize, because we're so blinded by the storm, we don't recognize the blessings that he sends or the help he sends or the extra strength that he sends. We're so focused on the problem. We're blinded to these other things and we don't recognize them as God. We don't recognize them as help from him. Just like the disciples, like I said, they didn't see that Jesus was Jesus. They just saw this form walking on the water and they freaked out. It's a ghost, it's a ghost, it's a spirit. And Jesus called to them, be not afraid. Be of good cheer. It's okay. Don't freak out. It's just me. And he just wanted to calm their hearts. And God does that with us as well. Sometimes he calms the storm. Sometimes he calms our heart and calms our mind and calms us in the midst of the storm. And that's what Jesus was trying to do. He was trying to calm. The storm was still raging. The waves were still crashing. The thunder was still rolling. The lightning was still flashing. As far as I know, the rain was still pouring. But Jesus said, be of good cheer. I'm here with you. You are not alone. And that personally is my favorite Bible promise, is that God will never leave us or forsake us. Even when we can't sense His presence, even when we don't realize He's there, we have His promise that He is always, always with us. And that is such a huge, huge blessing. Such a huge blessing.